One of the goals of this channel is to review hardware and sellers that offer both practical and affordable solutions for server enthusiasts. If you were planning to build your own home or small office server, well, I may have found a seller on eBay making this easy for you. This is the Supermicro 4U CSE 846 server. It is being sold on eBay by seller The Server Store. Today we're going to have a look at this server, its many features, and its limitations on this episode of Studio Tech.
Let me start by saying this eBay seller is top-notch. Their method for packaging reflected a great deal of experience shipping servers. The server itself was clearly used hardware, but in very good condition. And upon first startup, everything checked out. So let's take a look at what you get. The chassis is branded a Supermicro 4U CSE 846 server. The motherboard is a Supermicro X9 DRI-F. This server came with two E5 2620 6-core Xeon processors as part of the package, which have a 2 GHz base clock and 32 gigs of ECC registered memory. It has two 1200-watt modular power supplies. Model number 1K21P-1R. The chassis supports 24 SATA or SAS hot swappable hard drive bays, and the traffic for all those drives is handled by Supermicro's BPN 1SAS2-846EL1 backplane. The backplane is connected to the motherboard via an LSI 8-channel PCI Express RAID controller card that the seller has pre-flashed into IT mode as part of their refurbished process. The case also came with heavy-duty rack rails. And from this eBay seller, this server cost me $400. So let's talk about what makes this server, in my opinion, such a great value. When building a system for 24/7 deployment, you should consider the build quality of the hardware. And although a repurposed server like this is used equipment, it was designed specifically for this use. I would ask anyone considering a retail NAS solution like Synology, QNAP, or Azustar to research the reliability of those products. As far as CPU horsepower, the 2620s are not speed demons at 2 GHz. But for simple file management, media server duty, or basic VM platform, you have 12 cores and 24 threads, which is more than enough processing power for that. The 32 gigs of ECC registered memory, again, more than enough for those uses. Storage. Even if you only populated all 24 bays with 4 terabyte drives, you would effectively have 88 terabytes of storage with 2 disks of parity. And you could easily exceed 200 terabytes with larger drives. In addition to the upfront storage, you also have 2 SATA 3.0 ports and 4 SATA 2.0 ports. Although most retail NAS solutions now include redundant network connection, not all motherboards do. This being an enterprise-type motherboard features 2 pretty robust Intel i350 1G network ports and a dedicated IPMI port for a management interface. Redundant modular power supplies. Not only are the PSUs a toolless design making them a snap to replace, but you have 2. This is a unique feature of most enterprise servers that provides failover protection, meaning if the primary PSU dies, the other takes over without skipping a beat. PCI heaven. This board has a garden of PCI slots, It has 3 PCI 3.0 by 16 and 3 PCI 3.0 by 8 slots, providing lots of options for PCI connected devices. That's the good. Now let's talk about the limitations. The most glaring limitation is the backplane bottleneck. The SAS2 846EL1 does utilize the SAS2 protocol, which allows you to use drives larger than 2 terabytes, but bandwidth limitations prevent full utilization of SSDs mounted in the caddies. This is where those SATA 3 connections on the board can be utilized. Next is USB 3.0 connectivity. Though this board does feature 11 total USB 2.0 plus 1 Type A connection, if your use case or build requirement is going to require connection to USB 3.0 devices, you will need to add a PCI adapter card. The next thing is no native 10G NIC. Although your data transfer speed is limited by the backplane, you should be able to get 2 gigabit throughput off the array and 6 gigabit cache transfers from the SATA 3 connections. But it will require adding a NIC and using up a PCI slot. For most home users, 1 gigabit will be perfectly acceptable. But if you are a power user that requires fast transfer speed, you'll have to upgrade. Single core speed. The E5 2620 CPUs are okay for simple VM applications, but if you want to game or perform workstation tasks, nothing less than 2.9 GHz will do. In fact, I would even recommend 3.4 GHz CPU base clocks. There are loads of available CPUs for this motherboard, but speed comes with a price, and you will want to factor that expense when planning your build. RAM speed. The speed of the included 32 gigabytes of ECC registered memory is only 1066 megahertz and is perfectly adequate for file server duty or basic VM computing. But like the processors, if you want to engage in major workstation activities like video editing, you will have to upgrade. One of the great things about the Supermicro systems is their cost for registered RAM, even up to 1600 megahertz. Next is sound. This server, performing minimal storage operation, is very quiet. But the CPU's passive cooling system design requires high-speed fans, and when the system is pushed, the sound is atrocious. Next is the monster form factor. Not everyone has or wants to make room for a case this size. For me, it's a non-issue, and there are tons of small form factor server case alternatives. So please take that into consideration before purchasing a server like this.
So in conclusion, I find the Supermicro 4U CSE 846 server to be a major value and a great starting point for any DIY server project. I also think eBay Seller, the server store, is a legitimate resource to anyone looking for affordable enterprise equipment, and encourage you to check out their store on eBay.
I hope this video was helpful. If you or your organization have a product that would benefit from a professional demonstration, or you'd like to submit a product for review, contact us directly at pilotreel.com. Thanks for watching.